Everyone. Today we will be talking about the skeletal system to try to answer the question of what the skeletal system is and the functions that it performs for the body. So, as a quick review from our previous lesson, we know that the human body is organized from the very smallest unit of a cell all the way up to the entire organism. We know that organ systems, sometimes called body systems, are groups of organs that all work together to perform a specific function or job for the body. Now, that review is important because today we will be jumping in to talk about our very first body system or organ system, which is called the skeletal system. So before we talk about what the skeletal system is, I'd like you to pause the video and try to think about your answer to this question. So we've all seen bones before. Do you think bones are alive? So try to think about the bones inside of the human body. Do you think those are alive? Pause the video and think about it for a quick second. So if you said yes, that bones are alive, you are correct. Bones are alive while they're in an organism for several reasons. So we know that bones can grow, which we know is one of the characteristics of life. So if you think about a baby, very, very small. Its bones are also very small. Up to adulthood, we see the bones clearly experience growth and development. Another big important piece here is that bones are made of cells. So we also know that cells are an important characteristic of living things. Another interesting thing about your bones is that they can actually fix or repair themselves when they break. If any of you have ever broken a bone before, you've actually seen this happen in real time. So when a bone breaks, it takes a little while, but it actually grows and develops new cells and tissues to actually repair that. Here's a little fun fact to get you thinking about our skeletal system. When a human baby is born, it has about 275 bones in its body. But by the time it's an adult, it only has 206. Think about why that might be. What happened to those almost 70 bones? Did they disappear? You can ask me about that in class, or you can do a little research on your own to try to answer that. So now that we know about our bones, we can talk about the organ system that our bones make up. This is our skeletal system, and bones are indeed the main organ of this system. Another important part of the skeletal system is a type of tissue called ligaments. Ligaments are tissues that attach bones to one another. So if you've ever heard that bone song when you were a kid, you know, the thigh bone's connected to the hip bone, or however it goes. Well, our bones literally are connected to one another. Otherwise, you can imagine that they would sort of just fall apart. The tissues that hold our bones together are called ligaments. So now that we know what the skeletal system is and the major organ of the system, now we're going to jump in and talk about all of the functions that the skeletal system performs for the body. So in this video, what I would like you to do is listen along as I give you clues about the function and try to see if you can guess the function before I tell you. So the first function, I'll give you some hints. So in a football game, the football player's helmet does this for the player's head and brain. The cell wall on the outside of a plant cell does this for the plant cell. The human skull does this for the brain. The rib cage does this for all of the internal organs like the lungs and the heart. Airbags in a crash in a car do this to the driver and to the passengers. And your vertebrae or your backbone do this for your spinal cord. Take a moment and see if you can guess the function. If you said protection, you are correct. So the first and a very important function of the skeletal system is providing protection. So protection for what? The important and fragile organs of the body, some of which we mentioned in our clues, like the heart, the brain, the spinal cord, the lungs, and all of the other major organs inside of the body. Your skeletal system is that firm layer of protection for all of those very sensitive and fragile organs. Our second function, if you take a look at this picture, underneath this beautiful house is actually this framing is what they call it, which is just this structure underneath of the siding and the windows and all of that that the house is built with. So if you think about this house, what do you think this house would look like without this framework underneath of it? Use that to try to see if you can guess this second function. If you said shape and support or something similar to that, you are correct. So, the human skeletal system also provides shape and support for the body, just like the frame of the house provides for the house. So, the skeletal system is the framework or that support system that holds the body up and gives it its shape. So, if you think about all of the other parts of the human body, your skin and your organs, without the skeletal system there to give it that shape, that framework, that support, it wouldn't have that at all. And it would really just be a big pile of tissues and a brain and a heart laying on the floor. So again, the skeletal system provides that shape and that support for all of the other parts of the human body. Our next function, we're going to get a little kinesthetic. We're going to move a little bit. So the first thing that I want you to do is do a little bit of shoulder rolls. You might have done these in gym class before. You can switch it up. You're sitting somewhere watching a video. Get moving. What did your skeletal system just allow your body to do? Now you can stand up. Just start bending your knee upward. Bring your knee up towards your chest. Think about what your skeletal system just did there. Same thing, take your elbow and just extend and close your arm. Think about what your skeletal system is allowing you to do there. Finally, take your fingers. Move those around. Make a fist, let it go. Jazz hands, okay? What was your skeletal system allowing your body to do in those examples? Take a moment to see if you can guess this third function. If you said movement or motion, you are correct. So as we just saw in all of those quick examples, the human skeletal system allows for the movement of the body. Now, the skeletal system works hand in hand, no pun intended, with our muscles to allow the body to move. So the muscles couldn't allow the body to move without the skeletal system, and the skeletal system cannot without the muscles. They are both necessary for this to happen, but we will learn more about that in our upcoming lesson. Now let's look at this fourth function. So here's actually what the inside of your bones look like. I don't know if you guys can guess this one, so we'll sort of just talk about it. So the fourth function of your skeletal system is storage and production of red blood cells. So this is actually two functions in one, but the skeletal system first provides storage. So inside of all of these little spaces in our bones, there are actually nutrients and minerals being stored for your body to use later. The second function here is the creation or the production of blood cells. So inside of the very, very center of your bones is a substance called marrow or bone marrow. You may have heard of bone marrow transplants or things like that. This substance has the job of producing blood cells. So inside of your bones is the site where your blood cells are actually being produced. So let's do a quick review of our big major takeaways. So we know that the skeletal system is the organ system made up of bones and ligaments. We also know that it has four major functions, which are protection, shape and support, movement, storage of minerals and nutrients, and production of blood cells.